Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I hope that you are all good. In today's video we are going to be doing a acrylic nail design, so I really hope you all enjoy watching. I do apologize that it has been nearly a month since I've uploaded to my channel. I've just been super busy, but we are back today with an acrylic nail set. But before we jump into that, I wanted to show you guys my kind of new red iguana hand. So I was super lucky and I picked this up from a fellow nail tech who had only used it 1 or 2 times but was selling it. Now I grabbed a bargain and I have to say I absolutely love it. The quality is amazing and I have wanted a red iguana hand for a little while. I just hadn't really took that jump into purchasing one, so I was really lucky, like I said, to pick this one up. It is the 2.0 hand in the shade April, I believe, and as you can see here, I've just shown you guys it is the posable version, which took a little bit getting used to for the video as I'm not used to using a posable hand, but it is brilliant for taking photos. And I love that it's a full hand that includes a thumb as well, as sometimes it's nice to do just a full set of nails. Now it did also come with some instructions on how to use it and some jewelry as well. I don't know if I would use the ring, as I kind of didn't really like how this looked on the hand, but I did quite like how the bracelet looked on the wrist as well. And again, it's the little jewelry touches are brilliant for adding a bit of realism or props to your nail photos as well, so I quite liked that. Now because I picked this up off of somebody else, I didn't order it directly from the Red Iguana website, so I don't have the correct stand or the correct tips. It might be something I order. I might play around with some of the stands I have, but I just thought for now I would use the tips that I already have. So these are the tips that you would have seen me use on my Glamour Liz hand or my Flexi hand, whichever sort of silicone hands I've had in videos. I usually use these type of tips. Now the sizes I had here didn't fit this hand as well as what it has my other silicone hands, so I'm probably going to play around with some of the tips I have in my collection, but for now I was just making do, and I really wanted to test out how it would be like doing a video on this hand, because like I said, it was a little bit different using a posable hand. So now I have applied the nail bed tips, I'm going to come in and glue on my tips, and I just wanted to show you guys this glue because I very recently picked up this Makartt glue and it is really good. I've had a bit of a love-hate relationship with nail glue. I want one that sticks pretty quickly, but I do like the fact, I do like some glues where they don't dry instantly, so that you're able to just move the nail around a little bit before it starts setting in place, and I found that this one works spot on for me. I will try and leave it linked in the description box below in case you guys want to check it out as well. And I picked these up on Amazon and I thought it was brilliant that they come in a pack of 3 as well, because you do go through a lot of nail glue. So I'm just going to come on now and stick on these tips. I think these ones are from Wow. They are, I think they're called their perfect nail tips, and they don't have too much of a C curve to them, but they're quite long, and I do love the fact that you can clip off the tips and create a nice long coffin shape, or you can go shorter with them and create more of a tapered square shape as well. So I'm just going to apply a small amount of glue. I usually give it a couple of seconds and then press it down onto the nail tip. And this one here, you do see that I do actually knock it off, or I let go too quickly. And I love this, that it, like I said, it just doesn't dry instantly. It gives you a few seconds of playtime and then it dries, but it does dry super quick, and it has dried super strong once it has dried. I use this one on myself as well as practice hands. Then we are going to take some tip cutters and take the length down of these. So I'm just basically trimming them down a little bit. I want it to go for like a long coffin shape, so I don't want to take off too much, but just sort of getting rid of that stiletto shape. And then I'm going to come in, I just shortened this one as it was a little bit longer than all of the others, and you can see here this is where I was struggling a little bit that I wasn't using the correct stand for this hand. The stand I have is a pretty good stand. I've been using it on my Glamour Liz hand for years. However, this hand is that bit heavier where it's a posable full hand, and it was just a little bit too heavy for the stand that I was using. But I do have a couple of other ones, so I'm going to have a play around. But this was the first video I'd done using the Red Iguana hand, and like I said, it took a little bit getting used to the fact that it's posable because the fingers stay exactly where they are, where with some of the non-posable hands I've used, they kind of drop out of your way a little bit. Now, because it is posable, you are able to bend the fingers out of your way. But yeah, it just took a little bit of getting used to. So sorry if you see me readjusting it a fair bit throughout the video. Now here I'm just coming in with a thin clear base. Now on my own nails I wear a thin clear base so that if I want to do a redesign, I can file back to that clear base and then do a redesign on top. But I also find as well, I'm quite a problematic lifter, and if I pop a thin clear base down under my acrylic design, I don't get any lifting, and I think it is just because clear does adhere best to the nail, especially when you're doing lots of nail art on top. Now I'm using the Diamond Nail Supplies acrylic system today, and I don't know if I've used this shade Rosie very much, but it is such a beautiful shade. I don't believe it's a core color, so it does need to be encapsulated, but don't take my word for that because I could be wrong, because like I said, I bought this one ages ago, but I don't feel as though I've used it very much. But it is a really pretty rosy nude shade, and it's got a beautiful shimmery sparkle to it as well, so I felt as though it worked well for the set I had in mind. Now I have left the ring finger in real time, so everything we do on the ring finger in today's video is in real time, so you can kind of get the gist of how I work. So I always burp my brush by pressing it down into my monomer, and then I press one side onto my dish to take out some of that excess monomer. Then I'm bouncing in my powder to pick up my bead of acrylic, and then I'm placing this down away from the cuticle. And then by placing it down away from the cuticle, it means that you've got more control over that bead of acrylic, and it's not gonna run back and flood that cuticle area because you're the one pushing it up towards that cuticle. And I'm just using the very tip of my brush to do this, and as you can see, I'm using really light strokes to get it nice and neat around that cuticle area, and then just gently pulling that bead of acrylic down. And I'm trying my best not to pull too much of this acrylic down because I want to leave the nails fairly clear, because we're going to do like a glitter glass tip design. Now I did decide that I wanted to build up this colour just a little bit more, so I'm going to take another small bead, place that down on top. I'm not going to push it up as far to the cuticle or start stressing about getting a neat cuticle. I'm just taking it over the top of that previous bead of acrylic and just gently painting this on, just like I said, to get a little bit more opacity and a little bit more of that colour coming through, as I had worked with it quite thin. Whenever you see my brush going out of shot as well, this is usually when I'm cleaning it off, so I'm just rubbing it on that paper towel to remove any excess acrylic that's still on the brush. The cleaner you work with your brush, the easier and neater your application will be, but it does also keep your brush nice and keep it lasting for longer as well, because if you do get acrylic stuck in it, then you do need to start soaking it out and things like that, which can damage your brush. So I do try to wipe off my brush as much as possible when I'm doing a set of nails, so that you're not getting too much acrylic stuck in it. And as well, if you work with the right ratio, you shouldn't be getting too much stuck in your brush either. But I was working a little bit too wet today. I haven't done too many acrylic sets, as I've said in a few of my recent acrylic videos. I feel a little bit out of practice with acrylic. I feel like for the last year or maybe even 2 years, I focused a lot more on gel polish and gel products, that I kind of have lost my touch with acrylic. And I think it's just a simple fact of that I need to do a lot more acrylic sets to get back into the swing of doing them, as I never found it a too easy product to master in the beginning as well. But then where I was doing it all of the time, I really got the hang of it, and then I feel like I've lost that a little bit now. So just going to finish off with the pointer finger, doing exactly the same as we did on the previous 3 nails, just getting a nice neat cuticle line with this colour and fading it down so it covers the nail bed area. If you do take it a little bit too far down the tip when you are doing a glass tip now, you can just wipe it away like I did with a little bit of monomer. Now let's take a look at the glitters we're going to be using. So we're using these 2 from Charlie's Nail Art. Now I have owned these ones, I've owned the first one anyway a very long time, so I'm not actually sure if that one's still available, but I will leave a link to the Charlie's Nail Art website in the description box below, because it's where I get a majority of my glitters, and I absolutely love the amount of different glitters they have available to purchase there. Now to pick up my glitter, I'm picking up a teeny tiny bead of clear acrylic, dipping it in to that raw glitter, leaving my brush full of monomer, and then I'm just nudging that glitter around. Now with this first one, I want it to fade down onto that rosy acrylic and then fade up towards the very tip of the nail as well, because that's where we're going to have that glassy glitter look. So I want to make sure that it's not too full coverage, that you are still seeing a bit of that clear tip coming through. And then I'm going to pick up the iridescent mint green glitter glitter exactly the same way and just layer this over the top. Now I love doing this with iridescent glitters because if you layer them over a more colourful glitter or a more colourful acrylic, they pop that little bit more and they just catch the light beautifully. It's really hard to see that at the moment, but you will see it when we have encapsulated and top coated. And I have left a picture as well, so I've left a couple of pictures, but one of them is in slightly different lighting and you can really see how the blue and the like that purpley blue comes through on those iridescent glitters. So once again here I've left this bit in real time, so I've dipped into my monomer, into my clear acrylic, picked up a really small bead of clear acrylic, but as you can see I've left that brush full of monomer. Now I'm doing this because if your brush is nice and wet, you're going to be able to easily nudge those glitter pieces around without them sticking into your brush or without them setting too quickly. Now what you want to do is just make sure that your brush is not dripping with a monomer, but make sure that it's wet enough that you can, like I'm just going in and out with it, moving those glitter pieces around, and then this way you're able to create a really nice fade and get that glitter looking exactly how you want it and exactly where you want it to go on the nail. And another thing as well, you are then able to press it out nicely so that your glitters are not laying on top of each other too much, because this is going to create quite a bulky nail. And you will see there I did just dip back into that raw glitter without any acrylic, just to add on a few more pieces where I needed them. And because I'm able to do that with just my brush being wet, I'm not adding any additional acrylic, so we're not going to end up with a too bulky nail. Then we've done the same again, picked up a teeny tiny bead of clear acrylic, dipped into that iridescent glitter mix and just very gently layering this over the top. And you do want to use very gentle movements with your brush because you don't want to pull that glitter off or nudge it around too much that you're going to pull out that first glitter that you applied. Now in this second iridescent glitter mix there are these super cute chunky animal shapes. So we've got some little bunny rabbits and some little chicks, I believe, maybe some butterflies as well. So I did just decant some of that glitter onto my palette so I can pick out specific chunky pieces that I wanted. As you can see there, I got the little bunny head and the chick foot on the tip of the nail, and it just looks super cute once we get to the end of the set. And then just to hold them in place, I'm just washing over with a wet bead of acrylic. This means they're going to set there, so then when it comes to encapsulating, we're not going to pull them off when we're applying our encapsulation layer of clear acrylic. So we're going to fly through and do exactly the same on the next two nails. So whilst I'm doing this, I thought I would take a moment again to apologize for the lack of videos. Obviously I have a job aside from nails that does keep me busy, and then I do also do a lot of videos and behind the scene work with Kiki London. So if you do check out their YouTube channel, you'll see that I upload a lot more videos over there. A lot of the videos recently as well have been using their new sculpting gel, which is amazing as well for creating long glitter extensions and things like this design we're doing here. You could definitely do that with the sculpting gel. So I have got quite a few recent videos up on that channel, so if you haven't checked that out, I'll try and leave it linked in the description box below, but just in case I forget, it is simply Kiki London on YouTube. So that has kept me quite busy. They've had lots of new launches recently, so I've just been quite busy with that. And then it's always so hard to find, I think I just manage my time poorly between work, children, house and all the other stuff. I just don't seem to have found as much time to sit down and do my own videos for my own YouTube channel, which is something I'm quite sad about because I really love uploading here. I just need to get a little bit more consistent, and that's something I'm definitely going to try and do, even though I have said that a few times in previous videos. I'm sure you guys know what life is like. But yeah, we're back today, and I do hope that this is going to be the start of at least uploading once a week. Hopefully twice a week though, because I really, especially now that we're in spring, I really love the spring and summer nails. So I'm excited to dig out the spring nail art, maybe some floral foils, things like that. So do keep an eye out for those. This is what the nails looked like once we had finished our glitter application, and I did leave this to set for a few minutes just to make sure, like I said, that we're not going to pull off that glitter when it comes to encapsulating. Now I'm going to encapsulate I'm just going to show you guys encapsulating two fingers fingers because this video was getting a lot longer than I wanted it to be. I think I worked a lot slower because one, I haven't done many acrylic videos in a while, and two, I was still getting to grips with working on a different practice hand. So I felt as though it took me a lot longer than what it normally does to do a set like this. So I just show you guys encapsulating 2 of the nails. We're going to do this one's sped up, and then we're going to do the ring finger in real time. Now to encapsulate, I am using the Diamond Nail Supplies Clarity Clear Acrylic. I absolutely love this clear acrylic. The clarity on it is absolutely amazing, and it's really nice to work with as well. I find that some clear acrylics can be a little bit too runny, but this one, if you get the ratio right with it, which I tend to work with a more medium to dry ratio, then it's really nice to work with. Now whenever I'm encapsulating long glitter nails, I usually will start by encapsulating the tip of the nail and getting over that glitter, kind of making sure that that's fully encapsulated down from the kind of like the center to the tip of the nail, and then I'll come in with my cuticle bead, build up my apex with this bead, blend that down over that first bead of acrylic, and then I will come in with another bead or 2 if it is needed to make sure the strength and structure is there. Now although I was working on a practice hand, so it doesn't matter too much about the strength and structure, I still wanted to try and get it as spot on as possible just because I was doing a video. So obviously when you are working on yourself especially, you want to make sure that you are building up your apex area correctly and that all that strength and structure is there, especially on long nails like this. Otherwise you risk breaking the nails, which can then cause damage to your natural nail as well. So let's talk encapsulation. I've picked up a medium size bead of the Clarity acrylic, place this bead down, and then I'm blending it back. Now I'm blending it back so that there's not going to be a ridge for our second bead of acrylic to come over the top of, and then I'm giving this a few seconds to polymerize. So I'm not really doing anything with it here, I'm just kind of like gently tapping it into place, and then as that acrylic starts polymerizing, I'm going to start pressing it with the belly of my brush and walking it down towards the tip of the nail. Now when you are doing any kind of encapsulation or glass nails, anything where you're going to really see that clear acrylic, you want to play with it as little as possible. So that's why I'm trying to just gently guide it into place without having to move it or manipulate it too much, because the more you play around with it, the more you'll put bubbles into your acrylic or just mess with the clarity a little bit, which obviously you don't want, especially when you are encapsulating or doing any kind of glass nails. Then once we've done that first bead, I'm going to place down my second bead of acrylic. So again, like when we applied that Rosie at the cuticle area, I'm placing this away from that cuticle and tapping it up into place. We don't need a too thick or bulky cuticle area, so I'm just applying a thin layer around that cuticle area. With this bead of acrylic, I'm leaving a majority of it in that back third for the apex area, and then just using a light touch with my brush, I'm blending the top part of that bead of acrylic down the nail so it gently comes over that previous bead of acrylic, but leaving majority of it where the apex area is, because that's where we're building up that strength and structure. I kind of like to press it out at the sides, but try and leave majority of the product running down the center spine of the nail. Then I usually look at the nail from all angles and we'll see if there are any areas that need a little bit more of acrylic, and I do usually find it's down that center part of the nail. So I've placed another bead of acrylic down there, blended it back, then blended it forward, and then I'm just using really light feathery strokes with my brush to make sure everything is nice and smooth. My application wasn't as spot on as it could be, but it is going to be fixable with a file anyway. But I'm just trying to get it as neat as I can with the product and with my brush, as that is going to minimize the finish filing. So here on this nail, the tip of the nail looked very, very thin. So I'm just coming in with another small bead, placing that down right at the tip of the nail and gently fading it back and then pulling off any of the excess, trying to keep my sidewalls as clean as possible. Off camera, I then did finish the encapsulation. I did all of the filing, buffing, give the nails a good clean. So we're ready to jump into applying our top coat. Today, I decided to use the Kiki London No Wipe Rubber top coat. I really, really love this top coat, especially when I'm working on my own nails, as because it's a rubber top coat, it's quite hardy, especially if you are quite hard on your nails like I am. But I decided to use it today just because it does have a beautiful shine over the glitter and the clear tips as well. well. So we're going to come in and apply a thin coat of this to all of the nails, and then because they are clear glass tip nails, I'm going to come in with that same top coat and top coat underneath the nails as well. Now this wasn't necessarily a necessity on the practice hand, but if I'm wearing glass tip nails on myself, I usually will top coat underneath, as it helps keep them nice and clear. Because you've got that layer of top coat on them, you're able to give your nails a good scrub when you're cleaning them, and they're going to stay looking crystal clear. So you will see me do that as well. Now this top coat does require a 60-second cure, so I think I top coat the top of the nails, pop them into cure, and then I come in again and top coat underneath, just because I didn't want to risk smudging the top of the nails, but you might not notice that in the video. Anyway guys, then I'm gonna just leave a little clip of the end of the set and some pictures for you to check out. As always, I will leave all of the products I've used linked in the description box below, so do check that out, along with any discount codes I have for any brands as well, so do check those out if you are looking to save some pennies. If you have any questions, then pop them in the comments below. I am always happy to help, and if you did enjoy today's video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you're watching my channel and you're not already subscribed, I would absolutely love it if you hit that subscription button, and I promise to have more videos up very, very soon. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Lots of love. Take care. Bye bye.